Welcome to the Truth, Justice and Healing Council website. With the announcement of the Royal Commission, the Australian Catholic Church, other major institutions and the broader community are now facing head-on what has been a tragic chapter in our history. We all need to confront the damage done to victims and past failings. The Church and its hundreds of thousands of lay workers around Australia help the poor and sick, educate our children and bring hope to the oppressed. But this mission has been betrayed by child abuse within our many different institutions, our churches, our schools, our orphanages. There have been many times church decision makers have handled the complaints of victims, survivors and their families inadequately, with a lack of compassion, openness and concern. The consequences have been tragic and shameful. And while there have been many changes for the better, particularly since the introduction of Towards Healing and the Melbourne response in the 1990s, the trust of many people in the community and within the Church itself have been diminished or lost. It is now time to face the truth. It's time to face the victims and survivors and their families, to listen to them, to learn from them as they look for justice and compassion. We can never restore the innocence that was taken away from those children, but now we have the opportunity as a whole Church to confront and address what has happened. That's why the leadership of the Catholic Church in Australia welcomes the Royal Commission. That is why we are working towards a reform agenda which would strengthen the Church's pastoral approaches to victims and leave compensation and assessment and payment to independent experts. That is why we are looking at a national Church board to set child protection standards and public reporting that would bring about unparalleled transparency and consistency in the way the Catholic Church in Australia deals with sexual abuse. The time has come for reform. Reform which will be either thrust on us by the Royal Commission or will be initiated and embraced by the Church. From the beginning of the year, I have travelled Australia, talking to victims, talking to church and congregational leaders, meeting with priests and parishioners, with brothers and sisters, meeting with the heads of our education and welfare agencies, meeting with Catholics and non-Catholics, academics, lawyers, doctors and judges. All of them agree, we need to do better, we need to reform. This is now the path we are on. And an important part of this reform started when the Catholic Church leadership established the Truth, Justice and Healing Council to represent the whole Catholic community at the Royal Commission. Child sexual abuse is the most shameful chapter in the 2-century story of Catholicism in Australia. This is therefore a moment of humility and repentance for our Church, a time to recapture our identity as a community of service and faith. And so, with a renewed commitment to our fundamental values of care and compassion, we will face the past with honesty and work to rebuild the trust that has been lost. The victims, all those who have been damaged, deserve nothing less.